decided to take a test flight. That's great. I'll get us up in the air and then you can try some flying. We've reached a safe altitude, so let's try some simple maneuvers. You don't need to worry about any of the instruments. We're just going to learn some basic flight controls. When I give you control of the aircraft, I'll say, you have control, and when I take back control of the aircraft, I'll say, I have control. Now we're going to try gently rolling the aircraft. This will allow us to turn the aircraft left or right. The faster the turn, the more roll you'll need. For now, we only want to do a small turn, so a bank angle of around 15 degrees is perfectly fine. Okay, give it a go and turn to your left. You have control. No, don't touch the pedals yet. We'll come to that later. Okay, level out so that you are flying straight and level. Okay, let's now try turning to the right. This is enough bank. Don't go beyond this angle. Okay, level out. Fantastic. You're really getting the hang of this. I have control. Now, we want to try changing the pitch of the aircraft. When you want to climb, raise the nose towards the sky by gently pulling the stick back. When you want to descend, lower the nose by pushing the stick gently forward. Gentle, gradual inputs will enable you to see what is happening to the aircraft. You can then modify the amount of pressure you use on the controls to achieve your desired result. Let's start by pushing the stick forward. This will lower the nose and cause the aircraft to descend. A secondary effect of this will be an increase in speed. You have control. That's enough. Okay, level out. I have control. Now, we want to try changing the pitch of the aircraft. When you want to climb, raise the nose towards the sky by gently pulling the stick back. When you want to descend, lower the nose by pushing the stick gently forward. You have control, so gently pull the stick back to increase pitch. No, the other way. No, the other way. No, the other way. That's enough pitch. Okay, level out. Now try the rudder. You can move this left or right. Don't hold the rudders too long or too far, or you might risk getting in a spin. That's it. This moves the nose side to side, or yaws the aircraft. The rudder is used in concert with other controls to keep the aircraft flying straight ahead. It's also used to turn the airplane while taxiing on the ground. The final control is the throttle. Try moving the throttle lever all the way back to idle. See how the nose wants to drop as we slow down? Now, move the throttle lever all the way forward. See how the nose now wants to rise? Okay, move the throttle lever back to about the halfway position. Great! Now you've tried all of the flight controls. That's really all there is. Well, that's the test flight over. You've learned a few of the basics, and hopefully it's given you an appreciation powered plane handles. There's a lot more to learn, so hopefully you'll want to take this further and perhaps take some lessons. I'm sure one of the flight school instructors will be happy to take you flying.
All right, let's start the engine and go flying. Here we go.
Clear, prop! Can you hear me okay? We can communicate over the intercom as long as you have your headphones on.
That's better. I've got mine turned up as you're a little quiet. Since there's no control tower here at White Waltham, we just broadcast our intentions over the traffic frequency. That way any other aircraft nearby will hear us, know where we are, and where we're going. We'll perform a normal takeoff and climb to 1,000 feet. I know this is all new to you, so I'll talk you through it. White Waltham Radio, Piper Golf Delta Lima, lining up runway 07. When you're ready, add little power to start rolling. Are you planning on making it to the runway at any point? Turn right onto the runway and line up so the nose is pointed straight down the white dashed centre line. Careful, you only need a little bit of power. Keep it slow and point the nose straight down the runway. Okay, full power. Fantastic, we're flying. Let the aircraft accelerate to 75 miles per hour. Keep full power for the climb, so control the airspeed by pitching up or down. 75 miles per hour is the Cub's best rate of climb speed. That means we'll get to altitude as fast as possible flying at 75. You're almost at 1,000 feet. You're doing really well. Fantastic flying. Gently push the stick to pitch the nose down and stop the climb. Fly level at 1,000 feet. Great. Our takeoff and transition to cruise is complete. Well done. In this lesson, you'll learn how to fly straight and level, which sounds easy enough. The secret is configuring the aircraft to fly hands-off at different speeds. I'll teach you how to do that, and by the time we're done, you'll be superb. At least that's the plan. Okay, you have control. Go ahead and push the throttle all the way forward so we speed up. Good. See how the nose wants to rise as the aircraft gains speed. Push forward on the stick to keep the nose down so you maintain 1,000 feet. Here's the secret. You can use trim to relieve that forward stick pressure. Slowly trim the nose down so you can maintain 1,000 feet without having to push the stick. The trim control sets the elevator position of the aircraft to maintain the desired pitch for a particular speed. Good. The aircraft practically flies itself when configured properly. With the aircraft properly trimmed, you can fly at any airspeed completely hands-off. Remember, you trim for specific airspeeds. If you slow down or speed up, you'll need to retrim. Try slowing down now. Pull the throttle control back to maintain 2100 RPM. Good. See how the nose wants to drop as the aircraft slows down. Use the stick to hold the nose up, then trim to relieve the pressure. Keep adjusting the trim until the aircraft flies level at 1,000 feet and 90 miles per hour. Great job! So now you know the secret to flying straight and level. Use trim to help maintain your desired altitude at any airspeed. Professional pilots always trim, because a trimmed aircraft is much easier to fly. Then we can just relax, and we're not fighting the aircraft. Okay, now that you know the fundamentals of flying straight and level, how about learning how to climb and descend? Your goal in this lesson is to climb and descend at a constant airspeed. In the takeoff lesson, you learn to pitch for 75 miles per hour, which is the aircraft's best rate of climb speed. Okay, you have control. Go ahead and add full power. Good. Let's pretend we just took off. Adjust the pitch to maintain 75 miles per hour as you climb. That's right, and don't forget to use trim to help you hold 75 miles per hour. Bang on speed, good work. Keep climbing to 3,000 feet. Good, now pitch down to hold this altitude. Stay at full throttle until the airspeed reaches 90 miles per hour, then reduce power to 2100 RPM to hold that speed. Okay, now I want to see you fly straight and level at 90 miles per hour and 3,000 feet. And we're slow. Increase power and hold your altitude to accelerate back to 90 miles per hour. When you pitch to hold your desired airspeed, you can adjust your altitude by just adding or reducing power. If you pitch up or down without adjusting power, you can exchange speed for altitude, or altitude for speed. by adjusting power, you can change one without changing the other. Good, you haven't forgotten how to fly straight and level. Now, down we go. Descend to 2,000 feet. To begin the descent, reduce the power to idle. Adjust pitch to maintain 75 miles per hour in the descent until we reach 2,000 feet. Remember, use trim to help you hold 75 miles per hour. Good. Hold 75 miles per hour all the way down to 2,000 feet. Still looking good. Hold 75 miles per hour all the way down to 2,000 feet. We're approaching 2,000 feet. Be ready to increase pitch and power so that we level out right on altitude. Here's 2,000. Pitch up to maintain this altitude and adjust the power to fly at 90 miles per hour. Be sure to trim the aircraft to maintain 90 miles per hour. Well done, you're a natural. Of course, I'm a pretty good instructor too. Just remember, use pitch for airspeed and power for altitude, and you'll be fine. You're catching on quickly. Of course, in order to actually fly somewhere, you need to know the next fundamental maneuver, turning. Your goal in this lesson is to turn to the headings I specify while maintaining 90 miles per hour and 2,000 feet. You can see your heading by looking at the instrument panel. To turn, you'll move the stick left or right to bank the wings in the direction you want to go. Be sure to keep an eye on your altitude. The steeper you bank, the more the nose will want to drop. Ready to give it a go? Okay, you have control. Move the stick left to start banking left. That's enough bank. Keep turning until you reach a heading of 270 degrees or west. Try to roll out. out at exactly 270. Stop the turn by moving the stick in the opposite direction to roll the wings level. There. That wasn't difficult, was it? Let's try another one. Turn right and head east. That's 90 degrees or 090. Maintain 90 miles per hour throughout this maneuver. No, you've passed your target heading. Be sure to start rolling out early. Fly a heading of 90 degrees to continue. You're catching on quickly. Of course, in order to actually fly somewhere, you need to know the next fundamental maneuver, turning. Your goal in this lesson is to turn to the headings I specify while maintaining 90 miles per hour and 2,000 feet. You can see your heading by looking at the instrument panel. Turn, you'll move the stick left or right to bank the wings in the direction. You want to go. Be sure to keep an eye on your altitude. The steeper you bank, the more the nose will want to drop. Ready to give it a go? Okay, you have control. Move the stick left to start banking left. That's enough bank. Keep turning until you reach a heading of 270 degrees or west. Maintain 90 miles per hour throughout this maneuver. Try to roll out at exactly 270. Stop the turn by moving the stick in the opposite direction to roll the wings level. There. That wasn't difficult, was it? Let's try another one. Turn right and head east. That's 90 degrees, or 090. Excellent, you're getting the hang of this. Let's try something slightly more precise. Turn right to a heading of 175 degrees. Keep that turn going to 175 degrees. And here's 175 degrees. You're a quick learner. Now you know how to turn. Just bank in the direction you want to go and hold the nose up to maintain your altitude. White Waltham Radio, Cub Golf Delta Lima, downwind for runway 25, full stop. Okay, you have control. Hold 1,000 feet, 70 miles per hour, and a heading of 090 degrees. Ready to return to Earth? Believe it or not, you've already learned everything you need to know to land. You just need to put it all together. I'll walk you through it. We'll land on that runway, just off the left wing. You're a little fast. Slow to 70 miles per hour. First we'll start descending, then we'll make a left turn all the way around to line up with the runway. The secret to making a good landing is a stable approach. Remember, set the throttle control and leave it alone. Use pitch to control airspeed. Alright, it's time to start descending to the runway. Reduce power to 1400 RPM and lower the nose a bit. Then lower one notch of flaps. For now, leave the power at 1400 RPM and trim for 55 miles per hour. Now turn left to 340 degrees. Be sure to maintain 55 miles per hour. And now start watching the runway. Our next turn will be to line up for landing. That's right. You can tell you're lined up properly when the runway appears straight up and down compared to the horizon. Go ahead and turn towards the runway. Runway heading is 250 degrees. Go ahead and lower the flaps to 20 degrees. Now adjust pitch and power to maintain 50 miles per hour to the runway. Right on speed and glide slope. Very nice. From here, watch the numbers on the runway. Fly right at them. Maintain 50 and keep those numbers motionless on the windscreen. Pull the power back to idle. Slowly raise the nose until we settle onto the runway. Use rudder to stay on the runway centerline. Good. Turn off the runway to the left and come to a stop. Good. Stop here. Superb. Congratulations on your first landing. That was a really good approach. Nice touchdown.
Welcome to Ernest A. Love Field in Prescott, Arizona, home to the Eagle Pilot School. Our location here offers fantastic flying weather, several runways, and a control tower, all surrounded by the wild beauty of the American Southwest. This is one of our Piper PA-28 Cherokees. It's an incredibly popular general aviation aircraft that's often used for training. The instrument panel is a bit dated compared to some modern class cockpits, but personally, I like the steam gauges. Ready? Let's get going. Let's start with a simple trip around the airport traffic pattern. I'll explain more while we taxi to the runway. Prescott ground, Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel at Eagle, ready to taxi, remaining in pattern.
Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, Prescott ground, altimeter 29906. Runway 3 right at Foxtrot, intersection departure. Taxi via Foxtrot.
3 right at Foxtrot via Foxtrot. Cherokee 9er Sierra Hotel. Okay, it's your airplane. Taxi us along taxiway Foxtrot to the intersection with runway 3 right. Taxiway Foxtrot is straight ahead of us. Follow the yellow lines, then turn right. traffic pattern is a rectangular pattern around a runway that allows aircraft to take off and land in an orderly manner. The pattern is especially important at airports without control towers. Flying the pattern also makes it easy to configure the airplane in the same way every time and make a stable approach to land. Go straight across here. Stop here.
Prescott Tower, Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel is ready to go. Holding short runway 3 right at Foxtrot, remaining in the pattern.
Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, Prescott Tower. Right close traffic approved. Runway 3 right at Foxtrot, intersection departure, cleared for takeoff.
Right close traffic approved, cleared for takeoff 3 right, 9er Sierra Hotel.
Taxi to the right out onto the runway. Having second thoughts? Take off whenever you're ready. Okay, line up and give it full power. The Cherokee rotates at 55 knots. Great. Now pitch to climb at 75 knots, which is the best climb speed in the Cherokee. There's a slight crosswind from the left today. You'll need to turn left a few degrees to correct for wind drift and maintain the runway centerline. Climb straight out to 5,700 feet. That's 300 feet below the pattern altitude of 6,000 feet. You're slow. Lower the nose to climb at 75 knots. You're still slow. Lower the nose to gain speed. Okay, here comes 5,700 feet. Now make a turn 90 degrees right to a heading of 120 degrees. Good. Keep climbing to 6,000 feet. Okay, here's 6,000 feet. Level off and hold 90 knots. Once you reach pattern altitude, pause for just a moment, then turn downwind. Go ahead and turn right 90 degrees now. Fly heading 210. Maintain 90 knots and 6,000 feet. Your goal is to fly a ground track parallel to the runway. You're slow. Speed up to 90 knots. Still slow. Please maintain 90 knots in the pattern. Okay, downwind is a good time to do the pre-landing checks. Belts are tight, mixture is rich, fuel pump is on, landing gear is down and welded. Okay, you're abeam the touchdown zone, so start descending. Pull the throttle back and lower the nose to initiate a descent. Add 1 notch of flaps and the aircraft will slow to around 75 knots. Aim for a 500 foot per minute descent rate. Now start looking over your shoulder at the runway. We'll turn base when we're 45 degrees off our touchdown point. Okay, here we are. Now make a right turn 90 degrees onto the base leg. Flight 300 degrees. Add 1 more notch of flaps and slow to 70. Now watch the runway. Try to time your turn to roll out onto the runway center line. Keep this turn shallow since we're flying slow. Done properly, you should roll out right on the center line at just the right altitude to continue a stable approach. You're a little low. Add a bit of power and raise the nose a touch. When you think you've got the runway made, add the last notch of flaps. Slow to 65 knots on short final. Here we are. Pull the throttle control back to idle. Keep the nose up until the mains touch down.
Cherokee 9 Sierra Hotel, exit next taxiway.
Exit the runway to the right when you're able. Okay, go ahead and stop here. Very nice. Think you can do that on your own? I hope you brought your lucky hat today. You're about to actually perform an emergency landing. You have control. Hold a heading of 360 degrees and maintain 7,500 feet at 90 knots while I describe the maneuver. Ready to learn about emergency landings? All you need to know is ABC. A for airspeed, B for best field, and C for checklist, in that order. For airspeed, you want to maintain the best glide speed of 70 knots. This is very important. If you fly any slower or faster, you won't make it as far. Choosing the best field for landing is the next most important thing. Always turn into the wind to reduce ground speed, then choose a long open field with no obstacles, or even better, an airfield. When you've got best glide speed and the best field selected, run through the engine restart checklist. For now, continue on this course, 360 degrees. Maintain 90 knots and 7,500 feet.
You're a bit slow. Hold 90 knots. Increase your airspeed to 90 knots. Can't you increase your airspeed to 90 knots? You're high. Hold 7,500 feet. Good. Just keep flying straight and level like it's a normal flight. I have a sneaking suspicion something bad might happen to your engine shortly. Oh, look at that. The engine has failed. Okay, don't panic. Just pitch and trim for 70 knots. Once airspeed is under control, turn into the wind and start looking for a suitable landing area. The wind is blowing from the northeast from 030 degrees. You're below best glide speed. Accelerate to 70 knots. You're above best glide speed. Slow to 70 knots. Be sure to pick a spot with plenty of room. Or, better yet, an airfield. You're fast. Trim for 70 knots. Always expect there to be fences at the edges of fields. If you're faster than 70 knots, you're wasting valuable energy and you won't glide as far. You're above best glide speed. Slow to 70 knots. Be sure to keep an eye out for any power lines. At this point, you can use flaps if you need them. Just remember to lower the nose to maintain 70 knots. This will bring your touchdown point closer, and can be useful if you think you're high. Here comes the ground. Let's pop the doors to make sure we can get out. Try to touch down as softly and slowly as possible. Wow, you landed on the runway. Great job. You touch down facing the wind. So this reduces your ground speed and makes an emergency landing more survivable. Your touchdown was smooth, so you avoided a potential landing gear collapse. Next time, use the flaps to reduce your ground speed at touchdown. Not bad. There's some room for improvement, but I'd trust you to safely land in an emergency. You have the controls. For now, maintain 6,500, 90 knots, and this heading. Today you're going to learn to do steep turns. A steep turn is just what it sounds like. You'll bank steeply into a turn and try to maintain that steep bank angle along with your altitude and airspeed through a full 360-degree turn, being sure to roll out on your original heading. You'll start with some turns to the right, then do some to the left. Practicing steep turns teaches you how to be smooth and precise on the controls while dividing your attention between the horizon outside and the instrument panel. The attitude indicator in the center of the top row of instruments is key to this maneuver. It shows your bank angle. 45 degrees is right between the two large marks on either side. To enter a steep turn, you'll roll smoothly to 45 degrees of bank while applying a touch of rudder in the same direction. You'll simultaneously increase power by about 200 RPM and increase the back pressure on the stick. First, get set up by flying level at 6,500 feet, 90 knots, at a heading of 090 degrees. Go ahead and roll into a right turn when ready. Your bank is too shallow. Maintain 45 degrees. We're getting low. Raise the nose to maintain 6,500 feet. Little low. Add back pressure. You're a little slow. Add some power. Get ready to roll out on 090 degrees. Good job rolling out on heading. Your bank angle was pretty good, but altitude was all over the place. Try watching where the horizon meets the windscreen and hold that stable. Let's try it again. Go ahead and get set up again. 6,500 feet, 90 knots, and heading east. Go ahead and roll into a right turn when ready. Your bank is too shallow. Maintain 45 degrees. Good. Now watch the horizon and keep it right there. Nice. Note where the horizon meets the glare shield. Get ready to roll out on 090 degrees. Good job rolling out on heading. A steady bank angle is your first priority. This time, reference the attitude indicator to get to 45 degrees, then watch the horizon. Now let's see one to the left. Go ahead and get set up again. 6,500 feet, 90 knots, and heading east. When you're ready, start a turn to the left. Your bank is too shallow. Maintain 45 degrees. You're a little high. Lower the nose to maintain 6,500 feet. Good. Now watch the horizon and keep it right there. Nice. Note where the horizon meets the glare shield. Keep it coming around, nice and steady. Get ready to roll out on 090 degrees. Good job rolling out on heading. Again, bank was good, but altitude could use some work. If you find you're climbing, ease off a bit of back pressure, but maintain the bank angle. Your steep turns are looking good. Well, you should practice before the check ride, but I think you'll do fine. Let's head back to the airport. Today, we'll learn about stalls. What a stall is, how to get into one, and most importantly, how to recover. Fly straight and level while I brief the maneuver. Hold a heading of 090 degrees at 6,500 feet at 100 knots. Stall is a dangerous situation in which the wing no longer generates lift, causing the airplane to fall. Stall occurs when the wing's angle of attack, or the position of the wing relative to the airflow, becomes so great that it prevents the air from traveling smoothly over the top of the wing. This can happen at any speed, but it's most often associated with flying too slowly. It's particularly dangerous when you're at a low altitude, like during a takeoff or landing. You're a little slow. Fly at 100 knots. Slow. Accelerate to 100 knots. Luckily, once you know what to watch out for, stalls can be easily avoided. And recovering from one is simple. A stall warning horn also gives you an audible cue that you've stalled. To recover from a stall, simply move the yoke forward and simultaneously apply full power. This action is called the standard stall recovery. Set up, pull the power back to idle. Do this now. Gradually raise the nose to maintain altitude as the airspeed decreases. At 85 knots, drop the flaps. Remember to keep raising the nose to maintain this altitude. Fully extend the flaps as if you were landing. At the stall, lower the nose and apply full power to recover. Then ease into a climb and remove one notch of flaps. Keep bringing the nose up to hold this altitude. There's the stall. Recover. Okay, now pitch for 75 knots to climb back to altitude. Return to 6,500 feet at 75 knots. Pitch for the best climb speed of 75 knots. Okay, now pitch for 75 knots to climb back to altitude. Return to 6,500 feet at 75 knots. Pitch for the best climb speed of 75 knots. Good. Airspeed and a clean, full power climb is the antidote to a stall. Measure of a good stall recovery is how little altitude is lost. How far below 6,500 feet did you go? Okay, now pitch for 75 knots to climb back to altitude. Here's our altitude. Fly straight and level at 6,500 feet and 100 knots to complete your recovery. you're slow. Fly at 100 knots. Okay, let's try it again. Recovering from a stall should become second nature. When you're ready, pull the power to idle. Keep pulling back. We should stall nose high. There's the stall. Recover. Here's our altitude. Fly straight and level at 6,500 feet and 100 knots to complete your recovery. You're a little slow. Fly at 100 knots. You're slow. Accelerate to 100 knots. All right, one more. Let's see how quickly you can recover this time. Go ahead and pull the power to idle. Keep the nose up as long as you can. Keep bringing the nose up to hold this altitude. There's the stall. Recover. Return to 6,500 feet at 75 knots. I like it when my students perform all the required actions without needing a reminder. During a stall, time lost is altitude lost. Whenever you find yourself in the stall, remember to drop the nose, then power up, clean up, and climb out. Remember, the quickest way to recover from a stall is yoke forward and full power. Here's our altitude. Fly straight and level at 6,500 feet and 100 knots to complete your recovery. Good job. It looks like you can handle the stall pretty well. Well, it looks like you're getting the hang of this. If you stall, just remember, yoke forward and apply full power. You have control of the airplane. Fly straight and level while I brief the maneuver. Hold heading 090 degrees at 6,500 feet and maintain 90 knots. Today you'll learn slow flight, which is flying the aircraft as slowly as possible, right on the edge of stalling. Flying slow like this teaches you how the aircraft behaves near a stall. Expect the control surfaces to become less effective. You'll need to increase pitch and power to maintain altitude, and the rudder will become more important. During slow flight, you'll be hovering on the edge of a stall. If you feel the plane start to stall, be ready to add power and lower the nose. Let's give it a try. Keep the flaps up, but pull the power out now and slow to 60 knots. Good. Keep slowing down to 60 knots. You'll have to raise the nose to hold altitude as you slow down. As you near 60 knots, gently add power. If you feel a stall approaching, add a little power and lower the nose. As you near 60 knots, gently add power. If you feel a stall approaching, add a little power and lower the nose. Looking good. Let's see if you can hold this for 1 minute. Add a bit of power. We're sinking. Good. Keep holding 60 knots. Looking good. Keep it up. You're doing well. Keep it up. Okay, keep holding this pitch attitude. We're about to go deeper. Fully extend the flaps, then ease the airspeed down to 50 knots. Awesome. All right, now try some gentle turns. Using coordinated movements, slowly turn to a heading of 180 degrees. The rudder is the most effective control near a stall. Looking good. Stay light in the controls. Gently use the rudder to slowly turn to a heading of 180 degrees. Slowly turn to heading 180 using light control movements. We're descending below 6,500 feet. Ease in some power. Good. Now gently make a left turn back to 090. Remember, the rudder is your friend. Turn to heading 090 using light coordinated movements. Slowly turn to heading 090. And be sure to go easy on the controls. Raise the flaps. Start the recovery by adding full power now. Well done. You're pretty good at handling yourself near stalls. Hopefully from now on you'll only hear the stall horn as your wheels are touching town. Today you'll learn how to get back home using only the navigational radios. You have control of the airplane. Fly straight and level, heading 240 degrees at 6,500 feet. At 90 knots. How do we navigate with radios? 3 letters, VOR. VOR stands for VHF Omnidirectional Range, which is a radio system that lets you navigate along invisible paths extending from VOR stations on the ground. You'll use two types of equipment for VOR navigation. You'll use the navigation radios to tune VOR frequencies. The NAV1 and NAV2 radios are located on the right side of the two ComNav radios at the top of the radio stack in the center of the instrument panel. You'll then use the VOR indicator to see your position relative to a particular course to or from the tuned VOR station. In this airplane, there are two VOR indicators, one for each navigation radio. This allows you to triangulate your position and to smoothly turn from one course to another. Take a look at the second VOR indicator just to the left of the radios in the second row of instruments. To fly along a particular course, you'll rotate the Omni Bearing Selector, or OBS knob, until that course is at the top of the indicator. If the little triangle on the right side of the indicator is pointing up, it means flying the same heading as the selected course will take you to the VOR station. If the triangle is pointed down, flying the same heading as the selected course will take you away from the station. The NAV2 radio is currently tuned to the Flagstaff VOR, and the course is currently set to 240. The course deviation indicator needle shows the airplane's position relative to that course, and the two-stroke from flag tells you whether flying that course will take you to or from the tuned VOR station. Right now the flag is indicating from, so if we fly the selected course, 240 degrees, we'll head away from the VOR station. To fly the selected course, turn to that heading and notice where the needle is. If the needle is deflected slightly to the left like it is now, it means that the selected course is to your left. When the needle's to the right, the course is to the right. And when the needle's straight up and down, it means you're on course. Make a slight left turn to intercept the 240 degree course from the VOR station. A heading of 200 should do the trick. Keep heading south to intercept the course. Good, we've intercepted the course. Turn right back to a heading of 240 degrees. to hold this course. Speed up. We want to cruise at 90 knots. Remember how I mentioned the importance of 2 VOR receivers? We're approaching an airway that we want to follow. Airways are invisible highways in the sky that extend from VOR to VOR. Right now, we're north of Prescott approaching Victor Airway 257, which runs south from here on about a 170-degree course to the Drake VOR. The Drake VOR is just northwest of the Prescott Airport. If we follow the airway toward the VOR, we'll end up in a great position to call Prescott Tower for our landing clearance. Start by dialing the frequency into the Nav1 radio. That's the top right radio. Rotate the knob on the far right until it reads 114.1. Dial 114.1 into the Nav1 radio on the top right of the radio stack. Good. Now, to actually use the frequency, we'll have to swap it from standby to active. Good. Now select the course to fly. On the right side of the top row of instruments is the VOR1 indicator. Rotate the OBS knob until 170 degrees is set at the top of the indicator. You're above altitude. Try to maintain 6,500 feet. Slow down a bit. Let's cruise at 90 knots for this flight. Rotate the OBS knob on VOR indicator 1 to 170 degrees. Good, you're all set. Now just wait until the needle centers. As soon as it does, turn left to a heading of 170 degrees to fly that course to the Drake VOR. The needle is alive. Hold your heading until we get closer. Slow to maintain 90 knots. Descend and maintain 6,500 feet. Slow down a bit to cruise at 90 knots. Here it comes. Start turning to 170 degrees now. Turn to 170 degrees to intercept the 170 degree course to the VOR. Good job. Now, just track this course until we get to the VOR. As we get closer, the needle will get more sensitive, so do your best to keep it exactly lined up. If the needle moves left, turn left slightly until it centers, then turn back to 170 degrees to track it. Good. Follow our selected course to the Drake VOR. Imagine that a VOR ground station has 360 spokes coming out of it, one for each degree of heading. Each of these spokes is called a radial. The VOR system knows which radial you're on and presents that information in a way that helps you navigate along selected courses to or from VOR stations.
Cherokee 109 Sierra Hotel, traffic 12 o'clock, 5 miles opposite direction, VFR. Altitude indicates 7,500.
Cherokee 9 Sierra Hotel has the traffic in sight.
An issue with flying on airways is the increased amount of traffic, since there is a greater likelihood of traffic on the same route. We try to reduce the risk of collision by flying at particular altitudes. That traffic is at 7,500 feet, probably because he's heading in an easterly direction and flying under visual flight rules. While cruising, traffic flying on easterly headings between 360 and 179 degrees should fly on odd-numbered thousands of feet. Traffic on westerly headings between 180 and 359 degrees should fly on even-numbered thousands of feet. Aircraft flying under instrument flight rules fly on the thousands, while aircraft flying visually fly on the thousands plus 500 feet. The rule only applies to aircraft flying more than 3,000 feet above ground level. We're lower than that, so it doesn't apply to us, though generally, it's a good idea to stick to it anytime you're cruising. There's another feature of VORs that we haven't talked about yet. Distance Measuring Equipment, or DME. If you look in the radio stack, you'll see a distance labeled NM, which is the distance to the selected VOR in nautical miles. Since the distance includes our altitude, it's not a completely accurate measure of location, but it's useful if you want to know about how far you are from a VOR. We're approaching Prescott's airspace, so I'll call out the tower and get our landing clearance.
Prescott Tower, Cherokee 109 Sierra Hotel is 7 miles northwest, inbound for landing. We're practicing VOR tracking. Request overflight of the airport to land on 30.
Cherokee 109 Sierra Hotel, Prescott Tower. Prescott altimeter 29992. It's a slow day. Request approved. Report 2 miles west.
We'll report 2 miles west. Cherokee 9 Sierra Hotel.
We'll continue tracking this course to the VOR, then track the 120-degree course outbound. That'll take us right over the airport. Oh, one important point. There's an area directly above a VOR where the signal drops off. This is called the cone of confusion. The loss of signal is indicated by a red and white flag at the VOR indicator. Set it up now. Once we get to the VOR, We're going to head outbound to the east. Set the heading bug to 120 degrees now. Good. We're approaching the VOR. Here comes the cone of confusion. Hold steady. There goes nav mode. Turn to 120 now. Good. Now that we're turning, rotate the OBS knob to select 125 degrees. All right, we're receiving the VOR signal again. Climb and maintain 6,500 feet. Nicely done. Now, track this course toward the airport. I'll call up Tower for our landing clearance.
Prescott Tower, Cherokee Niner Sierra Hotel, 2 miles west.
Cherokee Niner Sierra Hotel, welcome home. Overfly the airport midfield, then maneuver to enter final for runway 30. Runway 30, clear to land.
We'll overfly midfield, then clear to land runway 30, Niner Sierra Hotel.
All right, you heard the tower. Overfly the airport, then maneuver to land on runway 30. I expect you to be able to do this without input from me. If all goes well, your next flight will be your solo cross-country. It's nice to be home. You know, you're getting pretty good at this flying stuff. Well, it looks like you're getting the hang of this. Tomorrow, you'll be on your own for your solo cross-country flight.
Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, glad to see you're still on the ground. I wanted to watch your solo takeoff. Just follow the briefing and you'll do all right. Okay, just because I'm not in the cockpit doesn't mean I won't be watching you, though. I tossed a GPS tracker on the back seat so I can keep an eye on your flight track from my phone. You gotta love technology. I hope you took notes from your briefing. Good pilots make sure to keep all the necessary frequencies handy. I won't be there to remind you what to do, or to handle ATC. It's a short hop over to Sedona, so if I haven't heard that you landed 30 minutes after you take off, I'm gonna start getting concerned. Before you start rolling, get your radios and navigation equipment set up as listed in the briefing. Okay, you're ready to go. Good luck. I'll give you one more freebie before you're on your own. Prescott Ground, Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel is on the Eagle Pilot School Ramp, VFR eastbound to Sedona on Victor 12.
Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, Prescott Ground. Prescott altimeter 299er2. Runway 3 right at Foxtrot, intersection departure. Taxi via Foxtrot. Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, Prescott Tower. Wind 021 at 5. Fly runway heading until intercepting the Prescott 061 degree radial outbound. Runway 3 right at Foxtrot, intersection departure, clear for takeoff.
Departure Piper November 109er Sierra Hotel is type Piper, 4 miles west of Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu. Request flight following.
Piper November 109er Sierra Hotel, departure Squawk 0263.
Squawk 0263, Piper 9er Sierra Hotel.
Piper 9er Sierra Hotel, radar contact 3 miles west of Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu 6200, altimeter 2998.
Copy, Piper 9er Sierra Hotel. Departure, Piper 9er Sierra Hotel. Cancel flight following.
Piper 9er Sierra Hotel, departure. Cancellation received. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu traffic, Piper November 109er Sierra Hotel going around. Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu traffic. Piper November 109er Sierra Hotel is on base. Runway 3. Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu traffic. Piper November 109er Sierra Hotel is on final. Runway 3 to land.
Cherokee Niner Sierra Hotel, nice navigation. I was watching your flight track and you flew your course just as we planned. I think you're ready for your check ride. Night flying is breathtaking. I'm glad you decided to get your night endorsement. Flying at night is tricky. It requires both a greater reliance on instruments and more visual scanning outside the cockpit. We'll be making a short hop down to the city of Prescott and back. Along the way, you'll learn about navigation and obstacle avoidance at night. It's real easy to get lost at night, so it's important to maintain your situational awareness at all times. Let's get rolling. I'll call up ground. Prescott Ground, Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel at Eagle Pilot School. Ready to taxi VFR southbound.
Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, Prescott Ground. Runway 30 at Foxtrot 2, intersection departure. Taxi via Foxtrot.
30 at Foxtrot 2 via Foxtrot, Cherokee Niner Sierra Hotel.
All right, you have the airplane. Taxi via Foxtrot to the intersection with runway 30. As we taxi, look around. Each light you see has a meaning. Blue denotes a taxiway, and white indicates a runway. Towards the end of the runway, the edge lights will begin to turn red. You better be rotating by then. Whoa, that's the wrong way. Taxiway Foxtrot 2 is southeast of our ramp.
Cherokee 9er Sierra Hotel, cleared for takeoff. Runway 30 at Foxtrot 2, intersection departure. Early left turn approved.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 30, early left turn, Cherokee 9er Sierra Hotel.
Okay, taxi onto the runway, and let's get airborne. Go ahead and turn to a heading of 190 degrees now. Maintain 6,500 feet at 100 knots for the rest of this flight. Good. Do you see that road to our left paralleling our course? Just follow it. Roads make fantastic navigational aids at night. You can see the city lights up ahead. We'll fly there, but no further. There are mountains on the far side. Mountains are always a threat, and they're even more dangerous when you can't see them. When you're flying at night, it's imperative to always know where the obstacles are, and where you are in relation to them. Watch your airspeed. Another thing to remember about night flying is that people are sleeping. Try to avoid flying too low over houses, unless you want the airport to get an angry call. Increase your airspeed. And here's the city of Prescott. You can sightsee a bit, but be sure to stay over the city. There are mountains to the south. Check your altitude. Start heading east now.
Prescott Tower, Seneca 54 Golf is holding short of runway 30, VFR to the north.
Seneca 54 Golf, runway 30, clear for takeoff.
Check your airspeed.
Cleared for takeoff, Seneca 54 Golf.
Pitch down or power up to increase your airspeed. Part of night flying is a greater reliance on your instruments. Turn to a heading of 045 degrees to start heading back to the airport.
Prescott Tower, Cherokee 1090 Hotel is 6 south, inbound, full stop.
Cherokee 109 Sierra Hotel, Prescott Tower. Make straight in, runway 30, report 2 mile final.
Straight in for runway 30, report 2 mile final. Cherokee 9 Sierra Hotel.
All right, remember what I said about situational awareness. You're on your own now. I want you to position us onto a long final for runway 30. I hope you're good enough that I won't have to say anything until I make the call to tower on final. Nope, you've blown through the final approach course. You should have turned left. Do it now.
Prescott Tower, Cherokee Niner Sierra Hotel, 2-mile final for runway 30.
Cherokee Niner Sierra Hotel, runway 30, clear to land.
Good, now just show me how you land. Careful though, the darkness can cause some illusions, making it difficult to judge your altitude and distance to the runway. Watch your airspeed. You're above the approach speed. Slow to approach speed. Watch your airspeed. You're above the approach speed. Slow to approach speed. Flaps. Looking good, just maintain that descent angle. Watch your descent angle. Nice and steady. Watch the center line. Good. Now reduce throttle, gently flare, and settle onto the runway.
Cherokee Niner Sierra Hotel, turn right next taxiway. Remain on this frequency, taxi to Eagle Pilot School.
Right next taxiway. Taxi to Eagle with you, Niner Sierra Hotel.
Well done. You've shown you're competent enough to fly at night. You've earned my signature. Consider your night endorsement complete.
Welcome to Greuben-Zwinningen Airport in Germany. This is the home of the recently formed Wings Flight Academy. Its unique hilltop location above the River Moselle makes it a beautiful place to fly. Our premium aircraft is the Diamond DA-42. Composite airframe, modern aerodynamics, and efficient turbo diesel engines make it a pleasure to fly. The cabin is modern, well equipped with G1000 glass cockpit, making it a fantastic platform for both multi-engine training and later instrument flying. Diamond has also removed much of the complexity of operating a twin-engine aircraft, and you'll see what I mean once we get going. This is an easy aircraft to transition to from single-engine experience. We'll start by getting familiar with how the DA-42 flies, then we'll start your multi-engine training. This generally involves single-engine operation. Multi-engine training is all about dealing with an engine failure. Flying with two engines is easy. Flying a twin on just one engine is more complicated. Flying a twin isn't much different than flying a single-engine aircraft. It's bigger, faster, and things happen quickly. You'll have to be on your toes. Are you ready? I'll get our clearance. Koblenz ground, Delta Golf.
Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo, Koblenz ground. Clear to taxi to runway 06.
Clear to taxi to runway 06, Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo. You have the flight controls. Taxi us to the runway. Okay, follow the yellow line to the right ahead of us. We're going to continue taxiing to the end so we can use the entire runway. Taxiing a twin is no different than a single-engine airplane. Keep the speed down. It will get there. Okay, stop here. You see the arrows on the runway ahead? That indicates a displaced threshold. I've seen qualified pilots forget this, so I'm reminding you ahead of time. We can take off on a displaced threshold, but we are not allowed to land on it. The displaced threshold isn't reinforced to take the repeated impact of landing aircraft like the runway is. Okay, the pre-takeoff checklist looks good. I'll call the tower. Koblenz Tower, Diamond Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo is ready to go at runway 06.
Delta Lima Romeo, cleared for takeoff. East departure approved.
Cleared for takeoff, Delta Lima Romeo. Okay, go ahead and take off. This is all yours. Takeoff is no different than any other aircraft. Line up and slowly move the throttles to full. Good. Lift the nose at 80 knots. Okay, gear up. Pitch climb at 90 knots. right on speed. Very nice takeoff. You already appear comfortable with the DA-42. Let's continue climbing to 4,000 feet and give me a turn to 090. I bet the single you were flying before didn't climb like this. DA-42 has fantastic visibility, doesn't it? The tip-up canopy is great for that. Nice flying. Seems like you've got an understanding with the DA-42 already. Here comes 4,000 feet. Level off at 4,000 and maintain a heading of 090. Leave the throttle at 92% and let the aircraft accelerate to 150 knots. Pretty fast, yes? Best thing about flying a twin is still... Okay, I failed the left engine. Just keep it steady. The good engine is pulling on the right, while the bad one is adding drag on the left. We need to zero out the yaw motion so we're no longer pulling to the right. The first thing you want to add is enough rudder to keep us flying straight. In this case, use a lot of right rudder. The slip indicator, or ball, is at the top of the primary flight display. It's the small bar under the up arrow. Try to keep the ball just on the right side toward the good engine. Also notice the aircraft wants to roll into the dead engine, so bank into the good one to compensate. It's also very important to maintain airspeed on one engine. If you get slower than 76 knots, or a minimum controllable airspeed, you cannot maintain directional control with the rudder. It is vital to keep this in mind, because with one engine, you have less rudder authority. Once you've got the rudder under control, you can adjust power on the good engine. In any other twin-engine aircraft, we'd have to feather the prop on the bad engine. But the DA-42 does that automatically. Another good reason to transition into twins with this advanced aircraft. Last thing we do is secure that inoperative engine. I'll do that now. Engine master goes off, alternator to off, fuel selector to off. Okay, engine secured. Okay, let me see that you can fly straight and level on one engine. Okay, good. Now let's make a turn back to the airport. It's dangerous to turn toward the dead engine, so turn away from it when at all possible. Go ahead and make a turn to 240 degrees. Turning away from the dead engine is slow. Just take it easy and make sure to keep your side slip to a minimum. Okay, great. You're doing well so far. You have the aircraft? Our left engine is out. Maintain control as we make our way to the airport. Maintain 240 degrees. We are still slipping. Adjust rudder pressure to set the slip indicator at the top of the PFD. You did well on the first lesson. I think you can handle an engine-out landing. Don't worry. It's simple as long as we maintain airspeed. Start descending to 1,700 feet. I'll call the tower.
Koblenz Tower, Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo is 3 to the south, inbound to land, simulated engine out.
Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo, Koblenz Tower. You are cleared to land runway 06.
Cleared to land runway 06, Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo.
Okay. The key to an engine-out landing is keeping your energy or speed up. This is vital. Directional control is more difficult with your good engine at high power settings. You might have to push a little harder on the rudder to maintain directional control. So keeping our throttle low will ease the workload. If you've got full rudder in and you're still slipping, you may need to pull the power back a little. Generally, we would lower the flaps for landing, but remember how we need to keep our energy up. So, our landing is going to be faster than you're used to. Just keep it steady. We'll also keep the gear up until we know we can make the runway. Okay, here comes 1,700 feet. Level out and maintain 1,700. Watch your altitude. You need to maintain 1,700. Now, make a gentle right turn toward the airport. We'll line up for runway 06. You're low. Climb to 1,700. Things are getting away from us here. Okay. Make a gentle turn towards the runway. Start your descent. Start slowing to 90 knots. We'll maintain 90 with the approach. Okay, we're close enough to make the runway. Go ahead and lower the gear. From here, it's just like a normal landing. Pull the power to idle and keep it right down the center line. Okay, now get on the brakes. Keep it straight. Okay, go ahead and stop here. Great job. You put it down like a pro. Very impressive. In this lesson, we're going to practice engine out procedures on takeoff. This is the situation you really do not want to be in for real, so make sure you concentrate. One day, it might save you. We'll do several takeoffs, and I'll randomly fail the engine. That way, you'll get a chance to practice the different scenarios. That means pull the throttles to idle, lower the nose, and brake to stop before the end of the runway. If the engine fails after takeoff, we'll continue the takeoff. We are committed and must continue. Just like in level flight, we'll work to cancel out the side slip. That's a lot of rudder and some bank into the good engine. It's also very important to maintain airspeed and not get below our minimum controllable airspeed of 76 knots. This would likely require pitching down. Then we'll raise the gear and pitch to climb at our single engine best climb speed of 85 knots. Easy as that. Let's give it a shot.
Koblenz Tower, Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo is ready for departure. Runway 06, simulated engine out.
Delta Lima Romeo, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff. Delta Lima Romeo.
You have the controls. Taxi out onto the runway, then come to a stop. You have the controls. Taxi out onto the runway, then come to a stop. Okay, stop here. It's good to do a quick briefing to make sure everyone knows what to do in case of an engine failure. Here's the briefing. If the engine fails before liftoff, we'll abort the takeoff. If the engine fails after liftoff, we'll continue the takeoff. You ready? Let's do it. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. I have the controls. We are off the runway. Ready to try again? Okay, we're airborne. Welcome back.
Koblenz Tower, Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo is ready for departure. Runway 06, simulated engine out.
Delta Lima Romeo, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff. Delta Lima Romeo.
You have the controls. Taxi out onto the runway, then come to a stop. You have the controls. Taxi out onto the runway, then come to a stop. Okay, stop here.
It's good to do a quick briefing to make sure everyone knows what to do in case of an engine failure. Here's the briefing. If the engine fails before liftoff, we'll abort the takeoff. If the engine fails after liftoff, we'll continue the takeoff. You ready? Let's do it. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. Engine failed. Pull the power to idle and lower the nose. I have the controls. We are off the runway. Let's go again. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. Engine failed. Pull the power. Okay, good. Now that you know what it's like, let's see how quickly you can abort the takeoff. All right, let's see it again. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. Engine failed. Power to idle now. All right. You're getting more comfortable with that? Next time, see how quickly you can react. All right. Let's see it again. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. Okay, we're airborne. Pitch to climb at 90 knots. Engine failed. Now zero out the side slip with rudder and bank. Keep climbing to 1,800 feet. Watch your airspeed. We're getting too slow. Stay faster than our minimum controllable airspeed of 76 knots. No, we're too slow. I have the controls. Welcome back. Koblenz Tower, Delta Golf Echo Lima Romeo is ready for departure. Runway 06. Simulated engine out.
Delta Lima Romeo, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff. Delta Lima Romeo, you have the controls. Taxi out onto the runway, then come to a stop. Okay, stop here. It's good to do a quick briefing to make sure everyone knows what to do in case of an engine failure. Here's the briefing. If the engine fails before liftoff, we'll abort the takeoff. If the engine fails after liftoff, we'll continue the takeoff. You ready? Let's do it. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. Engine failed. Pull the power to idle and lower the nose. Okay, good. Now that you know what it's like, let's see how quickly you can abort the takeoff. All right, let's see it again. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. Engine failed. All right. You're getting more comfortable with that? Next time, see how quickly you can react. All right, let's see it again. Slowly push throttles to full. Remember to rotate at 80 knots. Okay, we're airborne. Pitch to climb at 90 knots. Raise the gear. Engine failed. Now zero out the side slip with rudder and bank. Keep climbing to 1,800 feet. Looking good. We're slipping. Correct with rudder and bank. Still slipping. You'll need more rudder and bank during the climb. Still slipping. Lower the nose and gain a little airspeed. You're fast. Pitch up to climb. We're slipping. Correct with rudder and bank. Keep climbing to 1,800 feet. You're doing really well. Still slipping. You'll need more rudder and bank during the climb. Still slipping. Lower the nose and gain a little airspeed. You're fast. Pitch up to climb. All right. We're at a safe altitude.
November Sierra Kilo, you are cleared on runway 7 left. Be advised of traffic Piper 46 to your left, making a landing on 6th right.
Cleared on 7 left. We have eyes on traffic to our left, November Sierra Kilo. Okay, we are cleared for landing. Pre-landing checklist, please.
Seats upright.
Check.
Seatbelts fastened.
Check.
Adjust directional gyro.
Is set. No need to adjust.
Altimeter 29.52.
Set.
Radio frequencies.
All set.
Prop RPM is required. Gear down.
Gear is down.
Flaps if required. We're too low. Landing lights on. You're heading for the wrong runway. We're cleared on 7 left.
Lowering flaps.
Landing lights on, please. You're heading the wrong way. Please turn back to land on 7 left.
Check.
Pre-landing checklist complete.
Roger, let's put her on the ground.
Never mind, I will do it. Landing lights are on.
November Sierra Kilo, exit to the left at any taxiway.
Nice flight. I can't wait to stretch my legs.
What a beautiful day to fly. I love these clear winter days. Okay, Piper November 118 Sierra Kilo is taxiing to runway 25, Delta Heritage. Piper November Sierra Kilo is taking off runway 25, Delta Heritage, VFR to the northwest of Vancouver. Almost reached Vancouver airspace. Hope to blend in with the bigger commercial traffic ahead of landing. Vancouver Tower, Piper November 118 Sierra Kilo is about 5 miles to your southeast, requesting permission to land, full stop.
Piper November Sierra Kilo, fly straight in runway 26 left.
Fly straight in runway 26 left, November Sierra Kilo.
November Sierra Kilo, abort your landing. We have an aircraft coming in with an emergency. Turn south and climb to 1,500 feet. Instruction will follow.
Roger. Aborting landing and turning left to the south, going to 1,500 feet, November Sierra Kilo.
November Sierra Kilo, turn left heading east, Vancouver Tower.
November Sierra Kilo, turning left to the east.
November Sierra Kilo, please climb to 1,500 feet. 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 November Sierra Kilo, turn left heading north and make a straight in to runway 26 left. November Sierra Kilo, please climb to 1,500 feet.
November Sierra Kilo, turning left to the north and making a straight into 26 left.
November Sierra Kilo, you're clear to land on runway 26 left, Vancouver Tower.
Cleared to land on runway 26 left, November Sierra Kilo. great flight, a beautiful day. This is why I fly.